Moving through some of these things, we're going to talk about anchoring. So do you use anchoring in your practices? Good. Okay, great. So we won't have to spend a lot of time probably on this topic, but certainly I think that anchoring is some of the best tools that we can do to teach not just kids how to utilize them, but as we'll do tomorrow, the parents. And maybe do we need a basic anchoring lesson? Are you familiar on how to set an anchor?
Does everyone know how to set an anchor in a room? Yeah? Okay. There is...
She wouldn't mind a refresher, so let's go ahead and do something.
Right, so anchoring, when we look back at NLP and the two guys that sort of developed it, Grinder and Bandler and Grinder, I believe that's it, that's what it is. Back in the 70s, when they got together, they decided they could model excellence. So they could take someone who's doing something brilliantly and model everything they did, right down to the way they moved, the way they dressed, the way they spoke, and even down to their internal dialogue. And the first three people they modeled was Virginia Satir, family therapist, Fritz Perls, and Erickson. And so Bandler, being the nutcase that he is, and it's on, yes, you are slightly mad, being the kind of person he was, he actually dressed like Fritz Perls. He spoke with a clipped German accent. He grew a beard. He smoked a pipe. He wore the corduroy jacket with the patches in. And he did exactly what Fritz Perls was doing, right down to what he was thinking. And he pretty much found that he could emulate what he was doing. So he got rid of the beard, nothing changed. Got rid of the pipe, nothing changed. Got rid of the jacket, got rid of the clipped accent, and he found that he was still getting the results because he found out what was actually working in that. But when they were studying these three therapists, they found that these therapists were anchoring feelings with each other, with their clients all the time. And then they realised that they could do that consciously. And we're doing it with our family all the time. There'll be ways that you look at your boy, Barbara. There'll be ways you speak to your boy when he knows that's as far as I can go. You know, it'll be a look you give him when he thinks, I'm not going to go any further than that. And there's ways that we talk to our loved ones and we touch them and they know they're going to be okay. When your child comes to you and it's cut his leg and you sit on your lap and you say, you know, you're a beautiful little girl, you'll be okay, and they go, and they feel comfortable. It doesn't matter if that child is 18 years old, she's just had a heartbreak for the first time. You take that tone of voice for that child and she's going to feel secure because you've anchored that feeling to the sound of your voice. So we're anchoring feelings with each other all the time. But what we're going to teach people how to do this consciously. So to create an anchor, this is how I teach my clients, we need three things. Let's start with the first. We need a physical anchor and a trigger word. Something you're going to do specifically to trigger that feeling. So they set it up. It can be a fingers put together, crossing your fingers, pulling your ear, anything you can anchor. Then we go on to the trigger word. One word you're going to use specifically to trigger the feeling. So you set that up in your client first. And then we're going to tell them how we're going to get to the feeling. And there's three things: posture, breathing, internal dialogue. So you ask, if someone says, I want to feel confident, have you ever felt confident? Is there an area of your life where you do feel confident? And someone might say, I'm a really confident mother, but in social situations, I lack confidence. So you're going to show them how to put that feeling of confidence they have as a mother and then put it into their hand and trigger it in a social situation. That's the joy of this. And the thing about this anchoring is this: you don't have to have felt the feeling to anchor it. If you can imagine what it feels like, then you can anchor the feeling. Let me give you this is a clear indication of how this works. So I said, a guy came to see me once, he said, I want to feel invincible. I said, have you ever felt invincible? He said, no. So I said, do you know someone who is? He said, yes. I said, who is it? He said, Superman. I said, can you imagine what it feels like to be Superman? He went, yeah. So I said, we need posture, breathing, internal dialogue. So I said, I want you to assume the posture. This is what he did. You know, little red shorts on. And I said, when you feel that feeling, anchor it. So it doesn't matter whether you've actually experienced it. That's the joy of anchoring. So we can do this overtly. If the child's old enough to teach them, you can teach them anchoring from the self. But if they're too young to understand that, then you can anchor it covertly. If you look at this little YouTube thing that the BBC did on this, the program that we've sort of brought this on from, it's on my YouTube channel. You'll see a woman, the BBC are filming this woman. She's talking about her son who's got ADHD, and unbeknown to her, in the background, her son is chasing his sister around the garden with a stick, and she's oblivious to it. She's talking to the camera. And then, so we taught a covert anchoring. So when the boy was sitting still and watching TV, she'd just put her hand on his shoulder and say one word. It might be calm, I forget what her word was. And she did that over a period of a week. When he was sitting nicely and eating his dinner, she put her hand on his shoulder and said calm. And then they, at the end of that bit of programming, they go back and interview her again and ask her what she thinks of the course. She's talking to the camera, and the little boy gets on his bike and he's going a bit too far up the drive or whatever it is. She said, hold on a second. She goes over to him and he's starting to get angry and agitated. She puts her hand on his shoulder and this kid goes, phew. And she says, you'll see it on the program, that was the result. Normally he would have kicked off, he'd have gone on, just did it. So we can anchor feelings within ourselves. We're doing it anyway. We're doing it all the time in this room. You know, Mohammed's had the experience of being hypnotised by me, and so have you. So even if you think about what that feeling's like, then you're going to go back into that. Because I've anchored my voice. Someone's been listening to my audio. It's very easy for me to hypnotise them because I anchored that voice to that feeling of hypnosis. So it's a very, very powerful tool. We should all have our own anchors, and we're going to teach you how to do this quickly, okay? So let me just demonstrate. Anyone want to demonstrate this quickly? Who wants to demo? Who wants to experience? Anyone? That's a brilliant.
Ladies, you haven't had the joy of coming up here yet?
Okay, should I watch or should I?
You come up and experience it. All right. Now, in NLP, they do this sort of consciously, yeah? They say, you know, and it's very good, but we're hypnotists. We have the ability to help people imagine things much more strongly. So I'm going to show what I call, the way I train this, what I call a power anchor. So I'm going to use hypnosis to enable you to get into a really powerful state of experiencing a feeling, okay? So what was your name again?
Lisa.
Lisa, okay. Right, so this is some way you'd love to feel. It's something you think, if I could only feel that whenever I want to, that would be phenomenal. What would it be?
Calm.
Calm. Okay, right. Okay, are there times when you are calm?
Usually not, yeah.
Right, think of those times, you know, have you got kids and stuff?
My kids are 3 married men.
All right, remember when they were tiny and maybe they'd gone to bed and you ran your bath and you put your candles and your incense and a glass of wine in the bath. That was a great feeling, was it not? Mm-hmm. So you've had that experience. Mm-hmm. Right, so that's the feeling we're going to get back to. And we're going to put that feeling into your hand. So that any time you want to feel calm, now what the situation is, you're going to just do this one thing and you're going to feel calm, all right?
Okay.
Right, so we need 2 things. We need a trigger word and we need a physical anchor. Something you're going to do to trigger this feeling of calm. You can put putting a finger and thumb together, something you wouldn't normally do.
Okay.
Yeah? So that index finger, that, and rubbing it together, yeah?
Okay.
That's going to be your physical anchor. We need a trigger word. Now, it can be the name of one of your sons, all of your sons. It can be the name of a place, an object, but one word you're going to use specifically to trigger this feeling of calm. You don't have to tell me what it is. You got one? Okay, that's going to be your trigger, your sound trigger, yeah? Okay, so I'll let go of that for now. This is what's going to happen. Understand that while we're doing this, you're all that matters to me, I know we're doing this as a demonstration, but for these next 5 minutes, you are all that matters to me. This is not for me just a demonstration. I want you to really go out of here today with that feeling of calm in your hand, okay? So the first thing I'm going to do is hypnotise you. I'm then going to ask you to just go back to that feeling of calm. You're going to breathe how you breathe when you're in that bath. Say what you say to yourself, oh, the kids are in bed, thank God. whatever it was. Okay? You're going to say what you said to yourself, and you're going to get to that feeling of calm. Now, only when you're feeling that feeling of calm completely, only then let me know by putting that finger and thumb together, okay? I'm going to say to you, just repeat that word in your mind. That's all you have to do, and keep that feeling going. I'm going to count for a few seconds. I'll then ask you to let go of the anchor and open your eyes. We're going to do this 3 times, Lisa, okay? And on the 3rd time, whatever you're feeling when that finger and thumb goes together is going to be anchored into your body forever. So make it a wonderful feeling of calm, all right? Are you ready? Mm-hmm. Okay. Are you ready to be hypnotised?
Sure.
So I'm ready, Freddie.
I'm ready, Freddie.
Okay, can I borrow this arm?
Sure.
Look at your hand. Look at one spot on your hand. Just one spot on your hand. Notice that spot. Focus on it. As it moves towards your face, notice the changing focus of your eyes. As you become aware of your eyes, close your eyes. When that hand touches your face, you're going to drop into the most profound state of hypnosis. Your legs will support you. That's right. Go deep, deeper, deeper down now. That's right. Deeper you go, the better you're going to feel. Feel that body relaxing, mind relaxing. Nothing bothers or affects you, nothing disturbs you. And as you go deeper and deeper, I'm going to touch the back of that hand, it's going to drift down, but only as quickly as you can experience going even deeper into that wonderful state. As the arm drifts down, your legs will support you. That's right. Now I want you in your mind to go back to that wonderful feeling. Remember that time, those beautiful boys of yours. Feel that love they feel for you, feel for them. Remember that time when they're in bed and you've just in that bath with your scent on and the water and your bubbles and your glass of wine or whatever it was. Go back to that wonderful feeling. And when you absolutely feel that feeling, only then let me know by putting that finger and thumb together. That's right, feel it, breathing in that feeling of calm and breathing out every doubt. Breathing in that wonderful feeling of calm and breathing out every tension. And when you absolutely feel that feeling of calm going through your body as your body sways and you go into that feeling, only then let me know by putting that finger and thumb together. Hear that word in your mind, Lisa. Keep it going. Feel that wonderful feeling. You may even smell that incense in that room. And feel that wonderful feeling now. That's right. Feel it filling you up. Okay? Let go of the anchor. Open your eyes. Is that a good feeling? Yeah? We're going to get even stronger this time. Okay, so when you're ready to go back into hypnosis, take a breath in. As you breathe out, go back in, all the way back in, even deeper than before. That's right. And go back to that time, that total feeling of calm. Feel it flooding your body now. Nothing bothers you, nothing affects you, nothing disturbs you. And when you absolutely feel that feeling throughout every cell, every fibre of your body, only then let me know by allowing that finger and thumb to come together. That's right. Feel it flooding your body with that feeling of calm. You may become aware of that feeling of that water and that perfume and that feeling of joy. Feel that love. Hear that word in your mind. Keep it going. Feel it even stronger now. That's right. Breathing in calm. Breathing out any tension now. That's right. Okay, let go of the anchor. Open your eyes. Is that a great feeling? Yeah? Right, this time, whatever you're feeling when that finger and thumb comes together, is going to be a feeling that's anchored into your hand forever. So make it a wonderful feeling. Understand you're all that matters to me for these next few minutes, okay? I want you to go out of here tonight, being able to trigger that feeling of calm in any situation, okay? So when you're ready to go back in, take a breath in. As you breathe out, allow your eyes to close. And see those beautiful men now. Remember when they were tiny. Their strength, their kindness, their love, and know that is you. All those times when you were tiny, looking after them, loving them, and see them now. You know, their sense of fun and joy, know that is you. And as you feel that love, as you feel that feeling of calm flooding your body once again, only when you absolutely feel that, Lisa, let me know by putting that thumb and finger together. See those faces, feel that love. That's right. Let that remind you of just how beautiful you are as a woman, as a person, as a mother, as a being. And when you feel that feeling of love and calm, only then let me know by putting that finger and thumb together. Hear that word in your mind and keep that wonderful feeling going from today. Whenever you want to feel this feeling, you put that finger and thumb together. You'll instantly feel that feeling of calm. From today, you put that finger and thumb together, you say that word in your mind, you'll instantly go back to this incredible feeling. From today, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, you want to feel calm, put that finger and thumb together, you hear that word, you'll instantly go back to this incredible feeling of calm. Let go of the anchor, open your eyes. Is that a good feeling? Okay, thanks for coming up.
Oh, we're not done with you yet.
I was going to send her back there and get her to feel that feeling. So I want you to do this now. I want you just with your eyes open, put that finger and thumb together, say that word in your mind, see what happens in your body. Is that a good feeling? You'll never experience that, anything other than that, when you put that finger and thumb together. Thanks for coming. Kelly wants to.
Yeah, because you want to play with me now, don't you?
Sure.
So Freddie did a great job of creating that resource state for her. Now you have that. You know where it is. It's going to be really easy. It'll be automatic because he created that association and those neural pathways. Every time you activate it, we'll be firing off. What do we know about firing off those neural pathways? The more that they fire together, they wire together. They'll get stronger and stronger until that becomes kind of your norm, the more you do it. Well, what happens, especially for kids, when they're in a situation where they're feeling the anxiety, and it is such a state that maybe they can't access that resource state. So we can teach them an anchor collapse, and that's how this goes. So you already have this established. Go ahead and fire it off. Give yourself that gift of feeling those good feelings. I can see it in your face. It's wonderful, isn't it? Then relax your fingertips. Take a nice, big, deep breath. Exhale. Right. I want you to think about one of those situations that makes you feel a little bit stressed, maybe even a little bit anxious, where your nervous system is escalated. Nothing really traumatic, just something. Bring it to mind. Let me know when you have that in mind. Notice where you feel it in your body. You can even calibrate it. If it's 0, it's down here. If it's 10, it's up there. Notice where it is on that range. Be there just for a little bit, feeling that. With your other hand, I want you to anchor that with your thumb and your finger. We're just going to associate that anxious feeling, that reaction with this gesture. Doesn't take long. We just hold it for a few moments. You know what it feels like. It's familiar to you, isn't it? Because it's been there before I even suggested it to you. Relax your hand. Take a nice, deep, cleansing breath. Exhale. Right. Activate this one. You can go back into everything that created that for you. Maybe even add other layers to it. I don't know. I don't have to know, but give that gift to yourself. It's wonderful, isn't it? Feels so good. Separate those fingers. One more nice cleansing breath. We can use the breath to move from state to state. And now here's where we're going to get a magical physiological shift in the brain. I want you to activate both those anchors at the same time and count backwards. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. One more nice deep cleansing breath. As you exhale, open your hands and open your eyes. Notice how you feel right now. How are you feeling?
I feel calm.
You feel good? You feel calm. Would you check in with that feeling over there, that one that wasn't so comfortable? You don't have to do that. You can just check and see where it is.
Lower.
It's kind of weird, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's kind of like not that important anymore, isn't it?
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
It's an uncanny feeling.
It is a very odd feeling.
And here's what we did. Freddie elicited and activated this wonderful resource state for her, brought her in nice and close, right? So I activated and elicited the problematic state for her, brought it in nice and close. When it came time to activate both of them, and then I went back to the positive state, we always end with the positive one, the brain cannot engage with both of those. So it's going to get in touch with the one that's most recent, which was the positive one, and the other one just retreats and fades into the background, and this is what she's left with. And with repetition, these ones will be overgrown, become less and less important. These ones, and what I love about this is this can be anything. It might be a sense of calmness, confidence. Maybe it's going to be relaxation. Maybe for someone who can't sleep, it's going to be being able to sleep beautifully, right? Maybe for, like the young man that I had who was a brilliant pianist until he was in front of an audience, maybe it's going to be all the wonderful feelings that he has when he's with his cat instead. But you can pick what that positive state's going to be, and that's what you're going to be left with. And so we call this an emotional detox technique. It's an anchor collapse, but it works for physical sensations too. If you have physical pain, if you have a craving, I teach this to all of my people who are quitting smoking or changing eating habits. If they're having the craving to pull their hair, chew their nails, whatever, And so basically, what we're doing is a meta pattern, aren't we? Right? So, do you have questions about that? It just feels kind of weird. You can see it in her
yeah,
face.
It's just, yeah, because I know what I was stressing about. I know my bath was lovely. I mean, that
Yes.
is something I enjoy.
But that was
my-
still there.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it just kind of.
It collapsed
Yeah,
it.
it did.
And what
it's an
it-
odd sensation.
And it's so elegant, and when you teach it, it's 3 steps, ABC, 1, 2, 3, and it's really easy for kids to do because it is so simple. And I make the case for them to use it frequently so that they can become their own brain rewire, their own nervous system rewires. Most importantly, they start to get a sense of control over how they're responding to life, because which state is going to be more helpful to you in life? Exactly. And we're going to practice this tomorrow so that you guys can do it with each other and get really comfortable. But now that you know how to do it, I want you to practice it a couple times between now and then. If you notice any tension coming in, you don't even have to give it a name. Put it in that hand, right? And then decide how you'd rather be feeling, and then activate them both, and you will get that result every time.
And the joy is you can stack anchors. So if you've now got a feeling of calm in your hand,
Right.
if you want to do same feeling with a feeling of confidence, you use exactly the same trigger word and the same anchor, because then you'll pack that on. And then whenever you trigger the feeling of calm, you'll also trigger the feeling of confidence. Whenever you want to feel confident, you also feel calm. So providing those feelings go together, then you could put joy on it as well. So all you've got to do is activate the feeling. Remember, it's the feeling we're anchoring, not the memory.
Yes.
And you teach this to a child, and that anchor, they can have it throughout their life. And they will use it throughout their life, I promise you. You do this I had a girl came to see me, she lacked confidence in her school exams. That was it, she was perfectly capable, came to the exam, she lacked confidence. And I said, is there an area where you are confident? She said, I do amateur dramatics, and I've just done this, this thing, Harry Potter. And at the end of the play, she had this sparkle stuff, and she threw it out over the audience. And that was the moment, the applause, all that stuff. Totally confident in that moment. And that was a moment, a posture. And we just anchored that feeling. She took it back into her spelling. She went from 10 out of 10 to 20 out of 20. 10 out of 20 to 20 out of 20. That's what you can do for someone with an anchor. You know, I have on my hand, I have confidence, I have determination, I have fearlessness on the same anchor. I can't remember the last time I needed any of those things. But if I get into a situation where I feel more confident, I trigger the feeling of confidence, I also feel determined and fearless. So that's how we can work. This is the biggest thing you can do for a person. This is like my free gift at the end of our session. Let me show you how to do this anchoring. You send them out, it's like the free gift, because it's so easy, and I think we should all learn how to do it. So we should teach our kids how to do it.
It's so profoundly easy that I've had clients say, how come nobody in all my years of therapy has ever taught me this? And again, it's because you don't have to think. You can just be aware of the feeling that's not helpful. And I use frames of helpful and unhelpful rather than good or bad, positive or negative. And teach them how to do it so simply and easily. Most importantly, they get to choose. So I love Melissa Teer's name for this. She calls it a copy and paste. Right? You're gonna be copying that positive resource state and accessing either consciously in practice or organically out in life an unhelpful state, and we paste the helpful resource state on top of it, and there you go.
And get into this with your client. You see me, I'm in it with them. I'm not just reading the words, I'm just not stating the words. Be passionate. I had a footballer come and see me, well, soccer player as you'd call them. A soccer player come and see me, he was lacking confidence, hadn't made the team. This is one of the biggest teams in England. So he came, Harry, come out and stand here for a minute. He was about Harry's size. And he was about Harry's size. So when I did the first anchor with him, he said he felt like he was growing. He felt like he was getting, sort of built up this confidence. So the next time, close your eyes, Harry, and just imagine you're feeling confident, and imagine now that you're growing. And imagine you're getting taller and taller. I mean, you know, you're like 6 foot, 8 foot tall. Imagine you're getting taller and taller. You can feel yourself going up to the ceiling. Feel that feeling of growing so tall now. You can feel it. Open your eyes. Is that a good feeling?
You were never going to forget that one. And it's on film.
I just thought, why not give him the experience? You know, it was great, was it not? All right, so like get into them. You know, if they want to, I've had people, you know, want to feel joy. I said, have you ever felt it? Yes, in the summer of '69, I was at Glastonbury. It was the flower, whatever it was. I said, well, get into the posture. She went, she's dancing around my therapy room. I don't care. Get into it with them. You know, if they want to be Superman, go out and be Superman. Let them do what they want and encourage it. And that's where our role is, to keep working this up. Get it up, breathing in confidence, breathing out doubt. Okay?
That is our job, to excite their imagination. So Freddie used the word, you know, a power signal, and he's using this. It's empowering. So I have a process where I actually suggest words to them, and I repeat them 3 times. One of those words picks them and becomes their power signal. Then we anchor that to the state that they want, and teach them how they can use just that word. My word is radiant. Whenever I think of that word, whenever I see that word, whenever I hear that word, I become that word. And it's a wonderful, beautiful process to guide them through. I use it for children and adults. So that's another.
The power anchor, as I call it, differs. Because we're hypnotists, we're going to hypnotise the person first. It doesn't take long. You can do what I just did with Lisa, a hand-to-eye induction. You can do whatever induction you want. It's going to take a few. You can just say, close your eyes and go into trance if they've experienced it before. It doesn't have to be long-winded, you know, progressive induction. Do it rapidly, put them into trance. As the hand comes down, you're going to go even deeper. And then that's the first difference. The second difference, as it is for the NLP, because we're hypnotists, on the 3rd time, we're going to give them a post-hypnotic suggestion. And the post-hypnotic suggestion is this. From today, whenever you want to feel that feeling of calm, you put that finger and thumb together, you hear that word in your mind, you will instantly go back to that wonderful feeling. And we repeat it 3 times, not over half an hour, but within like 10 seconds or so. From today, whenever you want to feel the way you feel now, you put that finger and thumb together, you hear that word in your mind, you'll instantly go back to this feeling. From today, wherever you are, whatever you want to do, you put that finger and thumb together, you say that word, you'll instantly feel that feeling of calm. So now we've given that post-hypnotic suggestion 3 times within about 10 seconds. And the other thing is to make sure they let go of the anchor before they open their eyes. It's that sequence. Let go of the anchor, open your eyes. And you can change someone's life. And you do this for a kid. And you give them a power anchor. You give them an anchor for confidence. You give them an anchor for focus. You're going to change the way that kid performs.
I agree. It's a wonderful.
So I just want to share something about my experience up there, which was crazy.
Yes.
So I already had an anchor for confidence, and it's my hands together on my side. And so when I was getting more, and you're getting more, I'm juicing that anchor up even more with more experiences that are happening throughout the day, throughout the weeks. I'm always using that anchor when I feel those things happen outside, keep it going, and that was a nice little boost to that. So thank you.
Thank you.
Excellent, great. So we will revisit anchoring tomorrow. I had mentioned earlier raising children's intelligence about the emotions that they're feeling. And Cal Banyan describes our emotions as our inner senses, and I love that frame. They're no different than our outer senses of sight and smell and touch and hearing and sight. Then they're no different than those senses in that they're giving us messages. And so helping children decipher those messages. What is a feeling of frustration? It's telling you that whatever you're doing isn't working, you need to try something else. So there's lots of resources online for defining emotions. We have hundreds of emotions, but there are some basic ones. And I like exploring that with kids and helping them understand whether they need to respond to one of these signals, or whether it might be just a red herring that's hardwired in, like anxiety often is, or situational. It might be anchored. You know, children, not so much recently because they figured this out, children who were in hospital settings started having a phobic reaction to the color green, because that was the color of surgery garb, right? they've changed that, haven't they? Yes. So for
One-
them to
one-
understand.
Sorry, carry on. One of the things we're going to teach you tomorrow is a technique I've developed. We're going to teach you the anchor. We're going to do it today in a moment about pain. We're going to talk about pain in a moment and doing that.
Just about? Mhm.
But this technique, which I call TPM, Total Perception Management, leads on from the anchor. But it's the ability, one, it's the understanding, as I was saying earlier, that nothing exists outside of your skull except its perception. So we're talking about different emotional feelings, but those emotions are only chemicals and neurons and all that stuff firing off in your brain. It doesn't exist in the real world. But what if you could choose how you want to feel? What if you're feeling angry and you realise that that is detrimental to you? You could switch it off with a click of your fingers. What if you could ramp up an emotion? What if you're feeling joy and happiness and love and you want to ramp that up? What if you could do that at the click of your fingers? And we're going to teach you how to do that tomorrow. So you can teach parents how to do it, so they can teach their kids how to do it. And you can choose how you want to feel. When I first broached this idea, I've got an idea how we can do this. Someone said, well, doesn't that make us like machines? If we can just have complete control of our emotions, doesn't it make us like machines? I say, for me, I think it makes us a more advanced human being. I've wrecked so many relationships through my own insecurities and jealousy. Perfectly good people that love me, you know, are perfectly good, and I've wrecked that. If I knew what I know now, and I recognise when that jealousy is coming in, I can switch that off, recognise it for what it is, it's a stupid, ridiculous emotion, how would that have been? How many times have you not done something because of an emotion which you know is irrational? What if you could just switch that off? We're going to teach you how to do that, so you can teach parents how to do it, so they can teach their kids how to do it.
So I like to often offer different models of the mind, and you know, we have the classic iceberg model. We have all kinds of models, and one of them is the great eavesdropper. That part of our mind that's taking in the feed, and that feed comes from all kinds of places, doesn't it? It comes from media, from Facebook, it comes from our family, it comes from teachers, clergy, it comes from our peers. And I want to point out to kids that that stuff's coming into them. Maybe they're able to filter some of it, but a lot of it is coming into them and affecting them in many ways, and actually kind of controlling them, maybe even bullying them. But the most important feed is the one that they're feeding themselves, their own inner dialogue, their own inner self-talk. And so I want to give them some control over that. If they can determine that some of that is less than helpful, then we can shift it. So one of the best ways is playing with submodalities. And I like to use a pattern of slowing down that self-talk. So for example, if I have a kid who says that I can't do that, then I will get into an exchange with them and ask them how that feels, where they feel it in their body, and would they like to change it. Yes, they don't like that. They realize that's not helpful. They know how they're being impacted, and they're starting to manifest into whatever they're thinking about. And all I do is I ask them to follow along with me. So perhaps, who wants to just role play here with me? Okay, come on up, Barbara. So you can be the child. How old are you?
8.
Okay, and so I just picked an I can't do that, okay? And so just imagine, pretend if you want to, how that would feel to believe that you can't do that. And that thought keeps you, holding you back. It's a limiting belief, isn't it? So would you like to change that? Okay,
Very much
so what I'm gonna do is, I'm gonna have you just say that phrase to me. I can't do that.
Oh, I can't do that.
And I'm going to say it, I can't do that. And I want you to repeat it just like I do. I can't do that.
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 How does that feel to you, that phrase?
It starts being funny.
Starts being funny, and this is the exact reaction that everybody has. Usually by about the fourth rendition, some kids will just break into giggles, kids that are 80s and 90s years in age even, because we're collapsing the meaning to it when we're doing this. By changing the submodalities of it, we take away the power of the word. And this is supported in some research called the milk experiment they did. I can't remember if it was at Harvard, where they had students repeat the word milk until it lost all meaning. They forgot what that word meant. So there is that effect that happens just through the repetition, but we can collapse that. And it's so simple and easy that when they catch themselves in the self-talk, they can change it. They can say it in a Donald Duck voice. They can say it backwards. They can spell it. They can do all these things to change the meaning, because it's the meaning that's impacting you, right? And so you could feel that even though that wasn't your issue. You could feel the shift, though.
Yes,
it felt
yes,
completely
yes,
different, not
yes.
as serious,
Absolutely.
not as real,
Yep, yep,
right?
yep.
So
Yep.
can you imagine
Very
playing
cool.
with that?
Yeah, it's
Okay.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Often I'll take kids and have them retrieve their power, which was taken from them at many times in their life without even their awareness. And this might happen in a bullying situation. So we can make a safe place where we'll call in that person who is bullying and have the kid get their power back. And it could be just some tangible item, or maybe it's just a sense of that power. They can take it in, breathe it in, and then we will have them move through their life with that power retrieved and make suggestions for how that makes a difference for them. We can have clients hand back whatever they were given, some limiting beliefs. How many of you have known clients who said that their parents or a teacher or someone said they were less than? Maybe they weren't good enough. Maybe they were lousy at this or that, or you're never going to be able to do this. These kinds of imprints can stick with a person for life. So helping a child release those, hand it back. This doesn't belong to me. I even do this through a mirror where they're seeing them as some form of garment that doesn't fit. It never did fit. It wasn't their size or color or scratchy fabric. Let's take it off. Let's hand it back to where it came from. And then let's delve into a magical wardrobe where you can get the resources that you need. What does a super cape look like? What does, a hat of confidence look like? So we can use all of these metaphorical visual imageries to really empower a kid and anchor the idea of that. And they may even go out and get a cloak, right? They might get a green hat to be able to bring that into even more reality.
When I did this with a guy, he was at the top of this business. He was a director of this major company, earning over millions and millions of pounds. And I used to see this guy in the gym, and he was like a Greek god. It's me like I am, and this guy's blonde. He's beautiful. I shouldn't really be looking at him, but you had to admire him. And if I could have been anyone else, it would have been this guy. And we ended up one night at a barbecue with a couple of girls. My girlfriend and her girlfriend his girlfriend knew each other. And he was talking about the hypnosis and stuff, and he said to me, I must speak to you about something. So I said, well, okay, I'll come to your office. And he said to me, I said, well, how can I help? He said, I want to be more like you. I said, I almost fell out laughing. I what, like 5'6", bald, and he said, no, not that, he said, but you can speak to anyone. You can talk to anyone confidently. He said, I can't do that. How do you do it? I said, well, you are going to be doing it. He wanted to ask this girl out that was working for him, and he didn't have the confidence to do it. So I said, well, imagine I'm wearing an invisible cloak that makes me, invincible to any sort of rejection. I said, and bear in mind, this guy's a top exec in his business. I said, and I can speak, with this cloak on, I can speak to anyone. No one can see it because it's invisible. But it allows me to talk to anyone, say anything, do anything. So I'm going to take it off, I'm going to give it to you. Bear in mind, this is his top exec, so I'm taking off this invisible cloak. I gave it to him. I said, put it on. So I've given him an invisible cloak. And he's looking at me like I'm crazy, which I probably am. I give him this, I said, put it on. He went. I said, no, it's on. No one can see it, but it's nothing can touch you now. He rang me the next day. He said, I asked this girl out. And he's still wearing, I'm sure he's still wearing my invisible cloak. Well, I doubt I'll ever get it back. But you know, none of this stuff goes on other than in your head. You know, it's what you can do. It doesn't matter if it's a kid or if it's a top executive. If you can get them to get into the moment with you, then you can change people's perception. It's great.
Yeah, thanks, Freddie. So another approach that I use really comes from the field of nutrition called crowding out. When we bring in more nutrient-dense, healthy food, it crowds out the desire for the junk. But this can go with our self-talk too and our thoughts. The more positive things that we bring in, the more helpful things that we turn our attention to, well, it's displacing that negativity. And it happens just organically and naturally. So we show kids how to do that. And there's a fabulous video, and it's in your handout on Vimeo, and it's called The Scared is Scared. And it's a wonderful example of how a story is co-created by a young person. A college student is having this kid help her create this story, and it's acted out in this video. And basically the crux, the lesson is that the scared is scared of things that make you happy.
Oh, yes. We had that somewhere in a forum.
Yes, it's wonderful. So I really, sometimes I'll actually share that with clients so they can watch it because it's marvelous.
The other thing, because we're hypnotists and we work with suggestion and post-hypnotic suggestion, they've already got a negative voice in their head. Maybe their teacher, maybe a parent, maybe their own voice that's, telling them they can't do this, can't do that. We're hypnotists. So I often put my voice in their head. I tell them first. And then I suggest this, from today. For some guys, this is what I do. From today, if you ever doubt yourself in any way, it'll be as if I'm standing right beside you, my arm around your shoulder, whispering in your ear, you are fabulous. There is nothing you cannot achieve. So I've now put that into their head. And I also, because I am slightly crazy, I sing to my clients. We talk about fear and anxiety and how nothing is real. When we think about our past, it's not exactly as it was because our memory's not 100%. So it has to, that's not real. Our future hasn't happened yet. It can only be imagined, so that's not real. The only thing that's real is right in this moment, in the now. And by the time I've said that, it's already passed. So I get my clients to understand this. When they start to worry about something in the future, I say, it's just your imagination. It's not real. I said, this is what's going to happen from today. And it's going to bug you, and it's going to bug all of you in this room, because you can be stuck with my voice forever, right? The next time you start to feel anxious, please say if you don't want this, because you are going to be stuck with my voice. You've got 1 more second to get out of this, okay? So this is what I say. From today, if you ever doubt yourself, if you ever feel anxious about something that's going to happen in the future, you're going to have my voice in your head singing this song. Are you ready? It's just my imagination running away with me. Just my imagination running away with me. And you're going to be stuck with that in your head forever. Right? So you wait. It's going to bug you. Because the next time you start to think, I wonder, here he goes again. Right? So I will put my voice into their head in a positive way that will give them the ability to either smile, laugh, or do something else. Do you understand? We can create, as hypnotists, as hypnotherapists, our own self-talk for that person if you think it's appropriate. And we've got some wonderful tools as hypnotherapists that other people don't have.
We do, and I think one of the dilemmas is that we're really hung up on happiness. And in the West, happiness is a great goal. I know in the East, it's more contentedness, right? And I like that myself. But because we want our kids to be happy all the time, it makes us uncomfortable when they're uncomfortable. And so parents will bring their kids to us. And there's another great YouTube video by a Rabbi professor, and he talks about how the lobster grows. So the lobster is a soft, fleshy animal, lives in this exoskeleton. And after a while, the lobster needs to grow, so things get pretty uncomfortable. It's stressful. It crawls under a rock and it molts that exoskeleton, it grows a new one. Goes back to its regular daily life, nightly life, and after a while it's growing again. It's getting uncomfortable, it's stressful. Crawls under the rock and gets a new exoskeleton, and this cycle happens naturally. Well, what happens when humans need to grow? They go to the doctor because they're uncomfortable and they get some pills. They don't get to grow. They don't get to do that kind of growth. And so my cause is to get my clients to be comfortable with being uncomfortable. It's okay, it's a normal thing. Everything at some point is new to us and feels unfamiliar. We might even feel a bit awkward, a bit self-conscious, whether it's a new job, a new relationship, a new school, a new experience. Coming here and being trained by Freddie and I, those first few moments was a little weird, right? But now it's familiar. We're kind of getting in the groove of each other. And the human mind loves novelty. We're always seeking it out. And to be stunting that in some way because you don't like being comfortable is to be stunting growth. So I want to encourage young people to be okay with feeling a little bit of stress, even a little bit of anxiety. That's a normal thing. And I also tell them that, hey, listen, you know, being brave has nothing to do with not being afraid. Even a hero experiences fear. But being brave means deciding to do it anyway and tapping into some of those resources like Freddie was talking about. So these are some of the typical situations that I've had kids present to me with anxiety and fears. Many of these things are in social setting, but even try new things. And a lot of the eating difficulties come from this.
That covers what you said earlier, that the kids need the experience of trial and error. Because if they can stand a little bit of feeling uncomfortable, like going into a new school, if they stand it with our help,
Yes.
afterwards they also have this experience of success. And that's empirical data, which always just adds on.
It compounds.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I think that's
It
very
makes sense, doesn't it?
Yeah, that we
Right.
also tell the parents that their kids don't need to be always in that just happy, comfortable state.
Yes.
They need to be challenged and overcome because life is not just sugar-coated. They need to train.
This is developing resilience, which is vital to a growth mindset, right? So what we do is teach them ways where they can tolerate it. So they can have a reduction in the anxiety. Sometimes they will have no anxiety in some of these new situations, but I think normalizing that as part of growth is very important.
You know, when people ask me what the most common phobia is, and most people think it might be spiders or snakes or needles or heights or water, it's not that. The most common fear that people have is the fear of failure. That's the biggest fear. That's what stops us, as Barbara was saying. You know, instead of stepping over that line, experience that bit of uncomfortableness. And so the fear of failure is a major thing. But we're hypnotists, we're hypnotherapists, we can deal with that fear. But they've got to accept that that is what the problem is and stopping them from achieving what they want to achieve. One of my favourite quotes, it's a Shakespearean quote, but it's my favourite quote, it's this: "Our doubts are traitors. They make us lose that which we oft should win by fearing to attempt." How many things could you have done or would you have done if you just had the bravery, the courage to go and try it? And we haven't done it because we fear the failure of it. So once we eliminate this within our kids, that fear of failure, as we were saying with the irrational fear of heights, you don't want the irrational fear, you want the natural concern that everyone should have. We don't want kids going out and doing things that are dangerous, but just that natural fear of failure, so they can tempt it and be willing to fail, but be willing to take that. And we can deal with that with these techniques that Kelly's teaching you.
Freddie, would you demonstrate now what you showed me yesterday, a brilliant thing that you came up with, that countdown fear release process?
It's just I think it's really nice for kids because they're very visual. So what we do is we start with, and you can, even if you haven't got a fear, you can close your eyes, you can imagine this, okay? I want you to imagine that you've got an anxiety or a fear, and I want you to sort of score it from a scale to 1 to 10. Just close it and see that number in your mind, okay? See the number in your mind? And I want you to put a colour on it. So maybe whatever that number is, put a colour on it. Now I want you to move that right out into the distance so that number becomes very, very small. Now move it a bit closer and watch it go. Just keep your head face forward, but watch it from side to side. It's jumping from side to side, you can see it. And all of a sudden it morphs in front of you to a big, the lower number, the number below that number. It morphs in front of you. You can put a colour on it. Push it out into the distance. Now bring it up really close so it's as tall as a skyscraper. Now push it out a bit further and watch it jumping from side to side. Now watch it morph into the number below. And watch that go right out into the distance, then come right out in front of you. Watch it grow as big as the Eiffel Tower and shrink it down to a tiny little number in front of you. Watch it jumping from side to side. Follow it with your eyes, it jumps from side to side, and watch as it morphs into the lower number. And keep doing that until you get down to the 0. And see that 0 right out into the distance. Now watch it come right in front of you. It's a massive 0 in front of you. Now step through that 0. And as you step through that 0, every ounce of that irrational fear disappears. No matter how hard you try, you cannot feel it. The harder you try and remember what it felt like to be anxious or afraid, the further away it goes. Open your eyes. Okay? And if only you did that on proper anxiety, I doubt you can feel it now, can you? You won't be able to feel it. And this, I don't know where I came up with this. And when talking about, we're not allowed to say EMDR or whatever it is, but that eye movement that we get, with this you're utilising that. The kid's looking from side to side, they're watching that going. You're giving direct suggestions while that's going on. And it morphs down to that 0, and it's just a big 0. You step through it, and as you step through it, every ounce of that fear is gone. And that can be done in the time I've just told you to do that. You know, you can do this. Kids love this stuff. And that's, I haven't even put a name on it. What did you put a name on it? Yes, the countdown method.
The countdown theory.
You know, I developed this some time ago. It's in my book. But as I said, it's just occurred to me we could utilise all these things. Imagination, colour, numbers, movement, and into one little technique.